me also welcome Mr. Agarwal, President of SIAM, Mr. Ranveer Singh, who's here from the Ministry of Heavy Industries, Vinny, Rajesh, Angela Mans, and all our other friends from BDA, and ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to run you through an overview of the auto component industry and more specifically of the ACMA's auto component industry, which is, we have about 805 members today, and in terms of where we are and where we see the growth coming from and where we see ourselves going. Mr. Agarwal did a great job in covering the Indian economy, the growth story of India, and where India is headed. With that comes great growth for the component industry as well. Established in 1959, which is about ACMA, we have, we've fluctuated between membership of over 800 to today 805. We also represent a majority of the industry, of the auto component industry, and 65% of our membership comes from the MSME, which is the medium small enterprise. We have representation on all strategic bodies, government and industry, and of course offices across India, because of the fact that our manufacturing base for the auto component industry is spread across India. We've seen phenomenal growth this year. We're at pre-pandemic levels. Our sales revenue for the combined component industry of ACMA is $56.5 billion, which is a 23% growth from last year, and puts us back at the pre-pandemic level, which is somewhere here in 2019. So definitely, we're encouraged by the kind of growth, and if nothing out of the ordinary impacts us, we don't see this stopping. We should see double-digit growth going forward as well, unless we run into unforeseen problems which are beyond our control, like COVID and conflicts, etc. With regard to share of market, the passenger car market is the largest, and Mr. Mira touched upon the fact that there are 28 vehicles per thousand. India is still a very aspirational market for vehicle purchase, so we see this as a great growth opportunity for us. Already, across 3 million, we are the third largest passenger car market. However, we have a long way to go to reach the numbers that we want to. We're expecting this to continue to grow. We have, and this slide here talks about the slide on my far left and your right talks about the different segments that we operate in, and then the different components and the market share of the components. And this is obviously changing as we go more towards electric and alternate fuels. If you look here at our exports, again, our exports grew 43% to $19 billion, and we had a trade surplus of $700 million, which is, again, a first for us in our history to have a trade surplus. And the aim is really to continue to invest in technology and reduce our dependence on other countries and on imports in general. And this is really also got to do, I would imagine, with the China Plus One strategy, where we've seen a lot of exports come out of India, again because of the kind of investments that's happening in technology. We also very closely at ACMA work with the international purchase offices of various tier 1 suppliers and OEMs to boost the exports. So again, great opportunities for India as a manufacturing base, from a quality perspective, from a talent in terms of manpower, and in terms of investment in technology. India is really very strong and is just growing in these areas. And again, Mr. Agarwal also talked about the fact that we've got a great push from government, which is definitely helping us, invest and make the right investments in future technologies. In fact, and I'll touch upon that in the later slide. Region-wise export, you can see that the majority of the export goes to North America, Asia, followed by Asia and in Europe. Of course, the European numbers fluctuate given the fact that we are seeing some pain in terms of the market at this point in time. But hopefully it's a cycle, it's not a structural issue. Regionwise Imports, we still import from Asia. That's our largest import, followed by Europe. Germany is the second largest source of automotive of component imports. So again, great relationship and partnership there. If you look at the aftermarket, we also had a 15% growth in the aftermarket, which is now reached $10 billion. The aftermarket is very quickly evolving into a more formal aftermarket, with the right standards and practices. Also a lot of activity in the startup space in the aftermarket as well. A lot of e-commerce going on there, so it's a great opportunity again in the aftermarket. And I see this business actually, I think the global aftermarket is about $300 billion. So we're sitting at $10 billion. Great growth opportunities again, and great collaboration opportunities, to tap into this space. And of course, for various reasons, we've seen growth with regard to more vehicles, prolonged usage of vehicles, second-hand cars. When we went into the challenge with the chip shortage, there was a lot of second-hand car buying, which obviously increased. And I think that's a global phenomenon. If you look at our figures here again, to OEMs, we've grown 21%, aftermarket has grown 15%, exports I talked about 43%, there are in imports 33%, but an overall growth of close to 24% in the component space. And the reason why we're different from the OEM space is because we have the opportunity to export, and that's really a growing market for us, to create India as a base, as a hub. Figures in dollars below that, can you understand that better? So I'll talk a little bit about the headwinds and the tailwinds. We've seen the chip shortage, which we assume is becoming a lot better and moderating from where it was. Logistic costs are still high. We've seen some normalization there. We have seen less than expected growth in the two-wheeler segment, and again, the two-wheeler and the three-wheeler segment is very quickly converting to electric. In fact, 50% of all three-wheelers are electric. So again, great opportunity there for component supply. Increasing inflation and fuel costs is a global phenomenon. With regard to tailwinds, we see good GDP growth. The domestic demand continues to grow with the building of roads and highways. I feel that there will be greater opportunities, more cars on the road, more commercial vehicles on the road, great push towards infrastructure, off-highway vehicles, etc. The demand from India to the export. Again, the commercial vehicle market grew 30% this year. The passenger car market grew 20%. Mr. Agarwal's slide touched upon the 1 million in 2019. We went through some structural changes in the commercial vehicle market, which actually brought the volume down to 18,000, and now back up to 717. We hope that this number just continues because we've been through that cycle of the structural changes. So, we should see good growth there. Expansion of all the government initiatives. We've got a great PLI, the Production Linked Incentive Scheme, which encourages companies to invest in future technologies. We have 75 companies from the auto component space that have been approved by the government, and the outlay is large in terms of revenue, in terms of money that comes into companies for incentives if they meet the criteria. So again, there's a lot of push towards developing or investing in future technologies. The FAME 2 scheme again relates to the two-wheeler and three-wheeler, again EV industry. States have their own electric vehicle policies, which again is pushing towards electrification. And again, we're going to see a lot of movement towards clean energy, We talked about hydrogen, towards ESG, towards electrification. ACMA also has a great ecosystem with startups. We're working with a number of startups to develop and mentor startups to really come into the fold of the automotive industry. In fact, at our last executive committee, we onboarded 2 non-automotive companies, which are again in the electrical space, and we believe that that's again a great growth opportunity for us. We traditionally built our business on joint ventures. Back in 1987, when we began the auto component, or when the auto component industry really flourished, we started with the joint venture opportunities. And again, this is a great opportunity for partnerships between the 2 countries, between Germany and India. We could continue to be strong partners, and anything that we can find in terms of technology is a great opportunity. Again, the tier 2 and the tier 3 space is a growing space and continues to look for technology. So if there are opportunities in that area, we really encourage that. So that's really the overview of the component industry, and thank you very much for your attention.